so it's time to bake off my sugar cookies. The dough has been chilling overnight and I'm going to roll them out and bake them off, and then I'm probably going to pop them in the freezer because my cousin's gonna come over and help me decorate them later in the week. So I just wanted to share a couple of quick tips and tricks that you may not have come across that are gonna just make your cookie baking experience a lot easier and stress-free, and just, you know, the fun that Christmas cookie baking is supposed to be. So let me show you those. All right, I have one of my portions of dough that I've taken out of the fridge. I let it kind of soften a little bit where you can start to easily push into it. That's when it's kind of, when it's still cold, cool, but you can sort of make an indent with your finger. That's the time when it's ready to roll out. And I roll it out on this product. It's called Glad Press and Seal, and I really try to use as little single-use plastic in my life as possible, but I make an exception for Christmas cookies and rolling them out on a big sheet of Glad Press and Seal. I put the cookie dough here and then fold it over and I roll it out in between this. It just means that you don't have to flour your whole work surface. You're not going to cause the dough to get tough by adding a ton of flour to keep it from sticking to the counter and to your rolling pin. And also, if the dough does start to go too soft on you, too warm, while you're rolling it out, or, you know, maybe you've cut out some of your shapes and you're finding that they're difficult to lift up because the dough has gotten too soft, you can so easily just take this whole thing and pop it in the fridge and let it chill. So highly recommend rolling it out that way. It really is going to make your life so much easier. And it's just the easiest, most stress-free way I have found to roll out sugar cookies. And this product also, if you're not familiar with it, I would say it is a miracle kitchen product. If you wrap any sort of produce in this, it is going to keep way longer in your fridge. Also, I reuse it. I can usually reuse it like 2 or 3 times, you know, as long as it's not like real gucked up and dirty. I can definitely reuse this. So I think that rolling out the dough between the press and seal really is a great hack to make your cookie experience a lot more fun. You could try it with traditional plastic wrap, like what I used to wrap this, but I don't know, this stuff is like so flimsy. I would just be concerned that pieces of it would rip off and be stuck in the dough. The press and seal is a lot thicker, as you can just tell by looking at it. It's a lot sturdier. So I recommend this. You could try between regular saran wrap, or you could also try between parchment paper. I've done it between parchment paper. It does work. You get like wrinkles from the paper in the dough a little bit, and it kind of moves around more. The great thing about the press and seal is that it sort of like sticks to the counter a little bit, whereas your parchment paper is going to move more if you try to do it that way. But no, it is possible. And also you could probably have better success with the parchment paper if you had a helper, maybe somebody, another set of hands to hold it so it doesn't slide around too much. But if you can roll your dough out between something, it just makes it so much easier. All right, the dough is in the press and seal. I kind of go around and seal just the edges. This stuff seals really very tightly. So I seal just the edges and then kind of keep an air pocket in the middle, and just start rolling. And it's really incredible how easy this makes it. Alrighty, cookie dough all rolled out to the perfect thickness. Look at this. No flour anywhere. No flour on my rolling pin. No flour all over my countertop. No flour all over me. So this just makes it so much easier and less messy. And the great thing is too, as you roll, you can turn this whole thing so that you can roll your dough out as evenly as possible, because if you roll all in one direction, you end up getting parts that are much thicker and other parts that are much thinner. That said, this, while it's the perfect thickness now, it is too soft for sure. So I'm gonna pop this on to one of my cookie sheets that I have here, and I'm just going to toss the whole thing in the freezer. Let's get this parchment out of the way. I don't need that right now. So the whole thing can just go in the freezer. And also, I always have a space cleared in the freezer before I start where my cookie sheet will fit, because in addition to needing to chill the dough at this point, perhaps you may want to also chill it after you've cut out your shapes and put them on your tray, because that will just ensure that you get sharper edges. So it depends on what kind of cutter you're using, but if you're using things like stars or snowflakes or even hearts, you kind of want them to retain the shape as much as possible. Otherwise, they become some sort of other shape entirely. And certainly if you're using any kind of cutter with a lot of detailing, like this one with the scalloped edge, you will probably want to chill your cut out cookie dough before you put it in the oven. So having a spot cleared in the freezer for that in advance is really helpful. The dough was nice and chilled before I started cutting them out, and see how easily they come out. It's just like a dream come true without having to worry about them sticking to your counter. Happy holidays. It is admittedly after Christmas, but I am still baking and decorating some sugar cookies. I have an order for some New Year's treats, and I'm doing sugar cookies again. And so I just thought I would show you kind of how I decorate them and some of the tips that I have learned from decorating about 1 million sugar cookies over the years. I baked off these cookies here this morning, and they've been cooling for a few hours, but you can really bake them up to probably a month ahead of time. And then I just stack them and store them in these Glad containers in the freezer, and I feel like they keep really well in the freezer, decorated or undecorated. And then I have my royal icing. I always just do white. I've learned over the years that trying to do multiple colors is just a real headache. So I always just do white, and then I use my various decorations to jazz the cookies up. This time around for the New Year's cookies, I'm using some rainbow sanding sugar. This is really pretty, like chunky rainbow sugar. It's from a company called India Tree. It is their sparkling sugar confetti. I've bought a lot of products from India Tree over the years. They're really high quality. A lot of specialty stores carry them, and you can also find them on Amazon. And then I'm also going to use these little silver Dragees. I think a lot of people think that these aren't edible, but they actually are. You can find these again online or at specialty stores. I always buy my Dragees at the cake supply store in New York City called New York Cake and Baking. And then I just set myself up with a little plate to decorate on and some toothpicks just in case things spill over with the frosting and I need to, you know, fix things, and also if the piping bags get clogged, and also tweezers. If you want kind of a more elevated cookie decorating, tweezers are such a game changer. It makes it so much easier to grab your little decorations and place them exactly where you want. So I've got to get started. I've got about, I don't know, about 40 cookies to decorate. These are the finished New Year's goodie boxes. They contain sugar cookies, lace cookies, black cherry streusel bars, and hazelnut fudge. Okay, all my goodies are packed up in these boxes that I showed you earlier from Paper Mart. I tie them with a little bit of vintage seam binding, and I get my little business cards from Zazzle, and they're actually really nice quality and very affordable if you happen to need business cards. But this is the last of my holiday boxes, ready for FedEx.